Hey everybody, it's Lloyd Fernandez here with another video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're a subscriber, thanks for watching another one of my videos. I love you guys. Keep watching for more great content. Now, this video is for my buyers out there. Anybody out there looking to qualify for a loan from the bank, mortgage. I want to make a real quick video just explaining to you what you're going to need when going to the bank trying to get that loan for your new purchase of your new home, right? So to get right into the video, this video is entitled, what do you need to qualify for a loan to buy a house, right? So the bank is going to require 2 years of work history. That doesn't mean you have to be at the same job for 2 years. What that means is you have to have a consecutive 2-year work history. So if you did change jobs, that's fine. They usually don't want to see more than a month gap. If you have a good reason for 2 months, 3 months, I think all the way up to 6 months, a really good reason, maybe somebody was sick, your mother, you were taking care of your mother, or you was sick or injury, or if you was in school, something like that, that can, they can overlook that. But again, it depends on the underwriter, which is the bank, the person that overlooks all the loans, to decide whether whatever the reason may be for your over month gap of not working is okay or not. They'll have the final say. But like I said, if you went from a couple jobs in the last 2 years, but you had less than a month gap in between each job, you should be fine. The only time that they'll ask you for the reason is when you get to over a month gap. Then they're going to want an explanation, and then depending on the explanation, they will decide whether they're going to accept that or not. Okay, so that's very important. Second thing they're going to look into is your credit score. I've made videos about this. If you want more information about details and the credit scores and stuff like that, you got to watch one of my older videos. But basically they want to see, okay, so most banks, major banks, want to see 620. So like a Fulton, BB&T, York Traditions, because I'm in York, Pennsylvania, but any of the major banks, they usually want to see a 620 and up. But there are mortgage brokers that will accept 580 and up, even a little bit lower, maybe, depending on the situation, depending on what exactly your credit history shows, your credit report shows, and how many lines of credit you do have open and how long you had it open for. So all that plays a part when you're getting down to low credit scores. But if you have a 620 and up, you're definitely good to go. The good thing about having a 620 and you're able to go to one of the major banks is because the major banks have, and some of them, if you know what you're doing, what you should get with a real estate agent that can direct you and tell you, or kind of give you all your options, and you can make your final decision on which bank you want to go to. Again, I made a video about that, so check that out. But if you have a 620 and up, a lot of those banks, those major banks, have programs for first-time home buyers and things of that nature, grant money sometimes, and depending on the bank, to help you with closing costs. If you go to a mortgage broker, which is the ones that I was saying that are under 620, they usually don't have any of those programs of assistance. I mean, they'll still have the regular assistant program like PHFA and things of that nature, but as far as the in-house programs to give grant money and put you on kind of like a first-time home buyers program where you only put 3% down on a conventional with no PMI type deal, you have to go to one of those major banks, and for those you need a 620 and up. But again, like I said, you can have a 580 and between 580 and 620 and still be able to get qualified for a loan. You're just not going to get the best deal out of it if you're a first-time home buyer. So that was another factor of what they look into: credit score, work history. Obviously, you have to be a citizen or a resident of the United States. So if you're not, then you're not going to be able to get a loan. Outside of that, I wanted to get into money. So they're going to ask you how much you have saved up. That doesn't mean they're trying to spend your money, but it helps the loan when it goes to the underwriter, give it more push. Because if you have $0 saved, then they're going to be like, well, how are you going to afford to buy a home? and afford the monthly, not the monthly payment, afford the closing costs, the settlement, at settlement. So that is a big deal. So some people think, okay, well, it's fine, I'll just pull some money from wherever. You can't do that when it comes to a loan. They want a paper trail. So if you're gonna get money, now if you're gonna get your tax money, then that's a paper trail. You can show them that you got your tax money, and that's why that, you know, you just transfer that into your account. But you just can't pull money like from under the mattress and be like, oh, guess what? I got $5,000 right here. They're not gonna count that because they need a paper trail of where that $5,000 came from. And if you don't have a paper trail of where that $5,000 came from, then you need to have that $5,000 or whatever it is you have sitting around in your bank account for 2 months and over for them to be able to count it. And then they don't need a paper trail. So if you have money laying around and you plan on buying a home and you have a, you know, some people are still old school and they put their money in a safe, or they put their money, you know, they don't like putting it in a bank or whatever the case may be. If you're planning on buying a home, make sure that you put that money in your bank account 2 months before trying to qualify for a loan from the bank. Or if not, they're not going to qualify. They're not going to count that money. So another thing people do with money for down payment or for settlement, closing costs, they'll get money gifted to them by a family member, which is fine. You have them fill out the gift form, but again, they're going to want to see, you know, their account, that the money was there and it got transferred to your account. It's not just like, hey, here, I'm going to give you $3,000, $5,000, and the bank isn't going to question where it came from. They're always going to question where it came from. They're always going to want a paper trail, and they're going to ask for bank statements. So the items outside of that, the money with the down payment, outside of that, the documentations you're going to need, that they're going to request from you, from the bank when you do go to apply for the loan. A lot of times you could just give your information and they'll pre-qualify you, but then you get to the point where you actually have to provide them the documentations. Some places want the documentations up front before they even give you a pre-qualification letter to go buy a house. So what they'll ask for instance, obviously ID, social security card, social security number, because they're gonna check your credit. They're gonna want 2 years of tax returns and W-2s. They're gonna want 60 days of bank statements, 2 months of your bank statement. They're gonna want 30 days, however you get paid. Some people get paid bi-weekly or weekly. You want 30 days of pay stubs. So if that's only 2 pay stubs for you, that's fine. It might be 4 if you get paid every week, but they're gonna wanna see that. That is a big deal. Without that documentation, you're not going to get approved. So if you don't have your 2 W-2s for 2 years or tax return for the last 2 years, then you better get them, because you're not going to get a loan without them. There's no excuse you could come up with, because I've seen people come with crazy excuses like, oh, but they need to understand this, this, and this. It's like, no, they're not going to understand. They don't. It's the rules. You have you need the W-2s and the 2 years tax returns and all the other documents, the 60 days of bank statements and the 30 days of pay stubs. And if you don't have it, you don't get a loan. You don't buy that house, period. Don't matter if you was in the hurricane in Puerto Rico or if you were, you know, wherever, earthquake, you know, volcano, whatever. It does not matter. They need that documentation. So don't even make any excuses. Just find a way to get it. If you need your W-2s and your tax returns, you can go to the IRS and get it. You go online, irs.gov, and you could request for them to either mail it to you or print out, however you want to do that, whatever works best. Or if you need, you know, from previous jobs, some information, you're gonna have to call back those jobs and get information. I mean, they're gonna want to know all your jobs in the last 2 years. They're gonna want to know obviously where you worked and phone number and things of that nature. So they're gonna want to know all these things. And so when you're going to get a loan and you're going to buy a house, make sure that you're thinking about all these things that you're gonna need and prepare yourself. Because a lot of times I'm helping some of my clients and buyers, and they're not prepared for any of this, and they're like, oh, well, I don't know where to get that, and I usually end up helping them get all these things, or I'll tell them where to go. But if you're watching the video, you know ahead of time. So these are the things you got to get together. Get all your documentation together. Some people just have them together, some people don't. But either way, you're going to need them, and the bank is going to request them in order to give you a loan. So again, all the documentations, your credit score needs to be 580 or better. And if you're going to have any money that's not in your bank account for the last 2 months, you got to have a paper trail to show the bank where it came from, or you need to have it in your account for 2 months before you're able to count that towards you, before you're able to use that when it comes to buying a home. Those are the major things that I see people usually have trouble with. They're usually they don't have their W-2s or something. There's always something missing in the documentation. So make sure you have all your ducks in a row. You have all your documentation, and so you can provide that to the bank, and it'll go a lot smoother. You won't have to be stressed out, and get it ahead of time and just hand it in and get it all over with. That way the information and the evidence is all right there, and that you won't have any problems getting accepted for your loan. But the last thing I want to bring up when it comes to getting a loan from a bank, what do you need to get a loan from a bank? The last thing is not what you need to get a loan from a bank, but it's just kind of some information for you. A lot of people, they're asking, I want to get the first time home buyers program. So this program, first front door program, or the county city program where they give you $5,000, or, this, again, I'm in York, Lancaster, Harrisburg, Adams County. So I'm talking about this area. So the thing with that, I don't want this video to go too long. I made videos about this also. So you guys gotta go back and watch some of my older videos. There's a lot of good videos and information in there. But I'm going to touch base with this real quick, because this happens a lot. They'll come and say, oh yeah, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that. They're going to base it off of your income, okay? So depending on how many people are in your household, so if it's 1, 2, a husband and wife and 2 kids, a husband and wife, 1 kid, husband and wife, or just single person, you fall in a category. So let's say for the programs, right? So for the first front door program, which gives you $5,000, if you're just one person, single person, you have to make 41,000, I think it was like 41,200 and something or less in order to qualify for that. If you make over 41,000, you're not going to qualify for that program. There's no way around it. You just don't qualify. And also, if there's 3 people, 4 people, obviously that number goes up maybe to 48, 47, 50 grand, 52, wherever you fall within, how many people are in your household, but they're going to base it off your income. So if, you're looking to get the programs and you make over 50 grand, like I said, if let's say there's 4 people, it's you, your wife, or you, your husband, and your 2 kids, and the income limit is $50,000. If you make more than $50,000, you're not gonna get that program. So there's no point in being angry or being upset with anybody. It's just the rules and how it goes. So you might want to find out what you make a year, and also remember, overtime, it counts towards those programs. So they're gonna take overtime into consideration. So if normally you would make 40 grand a year, but you did so much overtime that you made 52,000 now, you don't qualify because you did all that overtime. So for those programs, for grant money and things of that nature. So make sure you understand that before going into this. That way you're not disappointed. Know where you at, how much you guys make, and they're gonna take combined income. So they're gonna take, if it's 2 people, they're gonna take both incomes. If it's 3 people working in the house, they're gonna take all 3. Every program is gonna take household income to disqualify you. So make sure you know that before going into that, or thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna buy a house and we're gonna get this money because this is how much you need to make a year and I only make this much. Yeah, but if you're putting down that there's your wife or your husband's gonna live with you, they're gonna put their income into consideration. So where do you fall when both incomes, are added up? Okay, guys, so that was very important. Wanted to throw that out there because a lot of people have a misconception with that, with the programs. They just think, oh, I'm a first-time home buyer, so I'm just going to get first-time home buyers program, and then that's not the case. You have to fall within an income limit, and if you make over that amount, then you're not getting any of those programs also. So do your calculation. Know how much you make in the household, and also another thing, if you got a raise, so like let's say 2017, 2018, you made 40 grand, 30 grand a year, right? But this year you got a raise and you're gonna make, I'm just throwing numbers out there, over 50 grand, which is gonna take you out of the income limit for the first-time homebuyers programs, right? But you might be thinking, well, but they're gonna see my previous 2 years. No, they're gonna project this current year because they're gonna take your pay stubs and see how much you make, and they're gonna do the math, and they're gonna say, oh, well, even though you made 40, 45 grand the last 2 years, this year, from what we're seeing on your pay stubs, you're looking to make 50, 52 grand. So that's another thing, guys. So all this in consideration, work history, credit score. They're also going to want to know your address for 2 years, all the places you lived, the programs, your income, how much you make a year, your household income. Everybody that's working in the house, that's going to be living in the house, they're going to put into consideration. So all these things you need to think of, be prepared, have all your ducks in a row with this before you go see the bank and you're thinking that you're going to get all this, all this help. You might, I'm not saying you might. I mean, if you fall underneath that income limit, that's awesome. Take advantage of all those programs. And if you got, any of those, fall in any of those categories, that's awesome. But also remember that if you don't, I mean, you just make too much. And also remember the work history. You can't have more than a month gap. And if you do, you're going to have a good explanation for it. So be prepared for that. But as long as you have 2 years of consecutive work history, you're good to go with the bank to get a loan. Your credit score good, and hopefully you should be saving money, putting money away. A lot of people want to buy a home but don't have any money saved, and that's really difficult unless you have a very, very low income. And then you still need some money. Even if you buy a cheap house and you qualify for all the programs, you're still going to need $1,000, $2,000 to buy a house, more like $2,000. So if it might fall less, but at least you have the $2,000 to cover of anything. And if you don't fall in those income limits, you're definitely gonna need more than 2 grand. So make sure you save your money. Make sure you're putting money away to buy a home. That way you can make it into your home. All right, guys, this video got a little long. I'm gonna end it right here. Good information for you buyers or anybody thinking about buying a house in the future. And if you are in the York, Lancaster, Harrisburg, Adams County area, Hanover, please contact me if you're thinking about buying a home. I could give you some more information. We could talk about all this, get you ready, and get you into a home as soon as possible. The right home for you and your family. I'm Lloyd Fernandez with EXP Realty. Like I said, in York, Lancaster, Harrisburg, and Adams County, Hanover area. And give me a call. My information is at the bottom. It's always in the bottom of the bios. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, all over the place. You can find me. Let me know. Great customer service, and we'll get you where you need to be. I make videos for real estate, for buyers, sellers. Make videos for aspiring real estate agents, new agents, seasoned agents. I make mindset videos, kind of tips, just discipline, life type tips for everybody generally. And I also do exercise and health nutrition videos. All right, guys, so make sure you like the video, subscribe, hit the button. You get all important things in this channel. All important things that you can apply to your life. Real estate, health, wealth, and self-knowledge, health, wealth. I mean, come on. You got to subscribe, share the channel, trying to build it up, trying to get more subscribers. So make sure you keep watching. It's going to get better content. And if you want to see me make a video about any topic, just comment at the bottom. Let me know what you think about the video. If it sucked, if you like it, if there's any advice you could give me, just throw it on the bottom. I'll be more than happy to answer back and take it into consideration. All right, guys? So like I always say, I'm going to end the video right here. Like I always say, I wish you luck, I wish you success, and I wish you good health. Bye-bye, guys. Boom!